Sheffield Lake County's 1023 XLC. Hey, there's a very cool event that's happening Labor Day weekend out in Schaumburg. Now, let me tell you, I'm really excited for this. So it's the Wrestling Showcase. It's going to be at the Hyatt Regency in Schaumburg, and they're going to name their first champion. And you know what? I think I might be looking at a guy who could definitely wear that belt really well. Steve Maclin. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your really busy schedule. Hey, I saw you last weekend here as part of Impact Wrestling with Emergence and Second City Slam. And Steve, let me tell you, man, I was so impressed.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a good time. Chicago's always a good town to come and wrestle in. I think it's probably one of those top 3, or at least on the top 5 scales of pro wrestling town to work in.
For sure, for sure. So do you remember the first time that you wrestled in Chicago?
Actually, it was Survivor Series. Blake and I got caught when we were the Forgotten Son still at that time. We worked Survivor Series on the pay-per-view, so it was a pretty fun one.
Awesome, awesome. I dig that. So I see that you're representing the New York Giants here. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm a Chicago Bears fan.
That's okay. I have an Urlacher jersey. Is the only other jersey I have other than a Giants jersey growing up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Grew up a huge Brian Urlacher fan.
Very cool. Well, I mean, here's the thing. The Bears haven't had a championship since 1985, and it's been quite a while. And I've been out of training camp a few times this year, and the Bears are in a rebuilding stage. So how do you think the Giants are going to do this year?
I'm hoping the offensive line, everybody stays healthy for Jones this year. I'd like to actually see him get a good full year with a good protection and for what he's skilled at. And but I just hope for a good year. As long as we beat Dallas twice a year, that's all that makes me happy.
For sure.
For a good season.
Okay, and I'm in a couple fantasy leagues. Is there anybody that I should be looking out for?
On the Giants or just in general?
On the Giants.
Well, Saquon, as always. I think Tony's going to have a breakout year. I know he got hurt towards the end of the year last year, but as a skill player and wide receiver, I think he'll have a good breakout year. And I know they keep talking about him with Daniel Jones and that connection as wide receiver to quarterback. So we'll see. Right
on. So are you a fantasy guy or?
Yes, I'm actually. So actually, when at Emergence and then Second City Slam the day of, we're in the back, and I was in a mid-draft the entire 2 days. So it was to get those out of the way. So
very cool. All right. So enough about football. Let's get back to wrestling. So this wrestling showcase that's going on here at the Hyatt Regency in Schaumburg. The date is September 3rd. That's the Labor Day weekend. So your first round match is against Jacob Fatu, part of the Samoan dynasty. I mean, the legacy and the lineage right there. Man, that's going to be a great match. How do you feel about facing Jacob?
I'm excited. Jacob's one of those ones that I've actually been excited to possibly down the road get my hands on, and I think we can put some magic in. You know, he just had a really good one with Josh Alexander at Ric Flair's last match on FITE TV.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. So yeah, the wrestling showcase, for all the details on that, tickets are available. It's at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. It's perfect. So if you go to thewrestlingshowcase.com, that's where you can get tickets. And it's also available on FITE TV as well. So you can order that pay-per-view there and check it out. So Steve, Jacob Fatu, you said that's one of the matches that you've been kind of dreaming about and seeing to make that come about here. Is there anybody else that you've never faced that you're looking forward to facing sometime?
Well, everybody in the tournament that's going for the wrestling showcase is a lifetime matchup, like a dream match. Matt Cardona, John Morris, to Josh Alexander, now Moose there. So my one match that's always kind of eluded me in Impact Wrestling right now is me and Josh, and him being our world champion. That's something I've been gunning for a while.
Yeah, and he's come out of like nowhere. He's had an amazing year this year. So it's great to see Josh doing as well as he has too. But nonetheless, I'm not selling you short by any means. What you've done this year in Impact, man, your match with Sami Callihan, the matches that you've had with him, unreal.
Yeah, it's becoming one of my favorite feuds between him, Trey Miguel, and it's been a good year. I'm excited, and I'm excited for the future too in Impact Wrestling. I think everybody's eyes should be on Impact Wrestling because it is one of those wrestling shows that I don't think gets enough credit for being the best show out there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I saw the two shows this past weekend here in Chicago, and phenomenal, like absolutely amazing. So when you wrestle somebody like Sammy Callahan, that's a different style of wrestling. How do you feel? How comfortable are you doing those matches?
I fall in my element. I adapt pretty well into every I guess go from a technical aspect to X division like I've shown. And then to possibly Jacob Fatu, who's a hard hitting and a high flyer as well, kind of that Samoa Joe hybrid. So yeah, I think I'm pretty adaptable, and I think I've overcome a lot of things that have been thrown at me, and that's why I'm still here.
Very cool. Very cool. I like it. So yeah, just make sure. Now I was looking on Instagram too. Dude, your face. Don't get your face too cut up before the wedding and everything.
I know. I got a little yelled at for that, but what are you gonna do? Things happen.
I understand.
Now,
So I think winning the tag titles might have made things a little bit easier, for you in the household, huh?
yes, very much so.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So Steve Maclin with Impact Wrestling, we're going to be part of the Wrestling Showcase in Schaumburg. That's September 3rd, Hyatt Regency, Schaumburg, thewrestlingshowcase.com. That's where you can get tickets. If you're not going to be in the Schaumburg area, FITE TV. That's where you can get that pay-per-view as well. So it's a stat card. Steve's going to be facing Jacob Fatu. So Steve, a lot of good-looking couples in the world of professional wrestling. So where do you rank yourself and your lovely fiance?
We ask this a lot. I don't think we really rate ourselves in that category, just because we just kind of do us. I let the wrestling world rank them however they want, and I appreciate if we're up there, if we're not. But I control what I can, and I try to be the best that I can for her in every way, and be able to provide for her. So that's kind of where I rank myself, is just she's way out of my league apparently by everybody, which is she's she's the best thing that ever happened to me. So
That's so great to hear, man. That's awesome. So when's the wedding? Not exactly, but it's coming up pretty soon, right?
November, we're looking forward to it. So it's gonna be a fun day. I got a lot of my buddies from the Marine Corps coming, and just it's I'm so excited. I can't even. Every day we got the countdown here in the house on the fireplace with these little blocks, and I think we're at like 84 days right now. I'll probably get yelled at if I don't know the exact number, but
Right on. So you talk about like a lot of your buddies from the Corps. So are you still tight with like all those guys too?
yeah, most of us talk every day. We always keep in touch anytime one of us is having a bad day or anything. Just the way the world is, kind of with veterans, and everybody's kind of down on the luck sometimes these days. And then with Afghanistan this past year, so it's kind of brought us more back together, I would say. We're all keep in touch a little bit more with a text here and there, but from the most part, ever since 2011, we've all kept pretty close.
Okay. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I have a lot of buddies who served, and yeah, they're a tight knit group for sure, for sure.
Much like pro wrestling, and I've made that comparison a lot too. Just how the locker room and wrestling, we're always on the road. It's always hurry up and go. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's very similar in just the way the culture is compared to wrestling and the military. So
Yeah, that's great. So Steve Maclin here with Impact Wrestling, going to be part of the Wrestling Showcase. Now make sure you're following Steve on Instagram and on Twitter at Steve Maclin. We have the spelling right there. So make sure you're following Steve. A lot of good stuff on there, as well. So Steve, you've been doing this for quite a while. I would definitely consider you a veteran, at this point in time, too. And like I said, it was really impressive. Not gonna lie, man. I haven't seen a lot of your matches prior to this weekend. I mean, I saw you in other companies and stuff like that. But as far as like what's going on in Impact, it really seems that you've elevated your game.
that's the funny thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, you've elevated." It's like, no, I'm actually able to show everybody what I'm able to do. It's the opportunity that Impact Wrestling has given to me with Scott D'Amore and the creative they have there with Robert and Jimmy Jacobs and D'Lo, just always having my back for ideas and taking them and letting me run with them and just go be me. And that's been the one thing I think that's been missing from me, is being able to show the world what I can do. And I think over the past year and a half, I've done that, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah. So you feel you have more control over who Steve Maclin actually is now at this point in time?
Yeah, I just, from a creative standpoint, just I'm in a different company, and one company saw me one way, and it was just kind of set that way, and that's how it was going to go. And then now here I got to start fresh, show everybody who I am as a single wrestler as Steve Maclin.
Yeah, I've always been under the impression anybody who gets to the level you're at, or any of the other companies, there's really not a lot of bad wrestlers. I mean, sometimes there are. There's exceptions to the rule for sure, but like it is just a matter of you going out there and showing us like what you can do and having that opportunity and seeing you more. That's really the biggest thing.
And that's the one fun thing too is like I look forward to more promos in ring. I love when I have promos backstage. I want to talk more. I love the wrestling side. I love to get just my hands on things that I haven't been able to do when I was with other said company. And now it's getting into storylines like with Sammy Callahan and sinking our teeth into. If something happens organically, oh, okay, cool. We can maybe go back to this part of the story, and like it's just fun to story tell, and that's my favorite part. We have a lot of hands on with that.
Yeah, it's storytelling for sure. That's one of the reasons why I love it. I mean, truthfully, like that's the only thing that I'm watching on TV now, is wrestling. Just because there's so many, I mean, there's so much that's out there, but it's great. Yeah, and my love for wrestling, it's been very cyclical. Like in my college years and stuff like that, I kind of gave it up for a while. And then after that, I was drawn back in. I'm dating myself here, but that's like when Goldberg was around. And Goldberg is the guy who drew me back in. I'm like, who's this guy who's coming out here, smashing people, not saying a word, and he's undefeated, you know?
That was
So
kind of
I
like even when I left for the Marine Corps, like I still watched Mania. I still watched pay-per-views here and there in the barracks. I didn't have cable in the barracks to kind of keep up with every Monday and whatnot. And I don't know if it's Thursday or Fridays then for SmackDown. But once I got out, CM Punk was like the hot thing, and I remember turning it on. I think the week after the pipe bomb, and it was one of those things. Like, oh wow, this is different, and I haven't heard somebody talk like this in a while.
Yeah. So is he the one who really kind of like kept you in it, or who are like the wrestlers that influenced you the most? I guess even prior to Punk, or Punk and thereafter.
Punk was he just kind of drew me back to kind of watch it. I was like, okay, this is different. I haven't seen somebody like this. It wasn't the Triple H and the Shawn Michaels. It was someone new. So I was like, okay, this is someone new on my TV. Let me see who this is. And then I kind of just kind of dove into him. Like, okay, he's cool. But growing up, it was always Bret Hart. I started off with old. I hate myself. Like, for as a kid, you see that. Now you look back, you're like, oh, okay. Well, now I know why I like that. Great, the greatest. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. But Bret Hart and then Stone Cold just took over every bit for me. Once him and Bret at Mania 13, I was like, it was one of those matches where I was torn as a kid because I didn't know who I wanted to win.
Yeah. No, it's so cool. Yeah, and Stone Cold now, like even what he's doing with his podcast, I swear when he tells stories and he just sits down with somebody and he uses like the wrestling lingo, like the insider stuff. His podcast that he did with Jeff Jarrett, it blew me away. I've never been like the biggest Jeff Jarrett fan, but like now I am because of this podcast that he did with Stone Cold. And it's nothing to take away from Jeff Jarrett, by any means. It's just that like
You're just
I wasn't a fan at the time.
and hearing it from a different side compared to what you saw on TV, and then oh, okay, I actually like this guy.
Yeah, I mean nothing but respect for him for sure. So you talk about CM Punk. He's a local guy. We're here in Chicago and everything too. I mean, what do you think? Like, what are your feelings on CM Punk like right now? Like, how do you feel since he came back and everything? Was that something that made you very excited or?
It's just good for business. It just draws more eyes to another product. With AEW, they're doing what they need to do to keep eyes on that product and grow, and that's best for everybody in the business, the guys and the girls across the board for every company. It just ups the ante and makes everybody work harder, and that's the one thing at Impact Wrestling I know everybody wants to do in the back is work hard to get those eyes on, and we do that every show. We just did that up there in Chicago, and we're going to do that again in Texas here in 2 weeks.
It's awesome. I love it. So Steve Maclin is part of the Wrestling Showcase. It's going to be at the Hyatt Regency in Schaumburg, September 3rd. You need to come out. Get tickets at thewrestlingshowcase.com. If you can't make it out, you should really try to make it out. It's going to be a good show. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be on FITE TV there as well. So, Steve, you said you like wrestling in Chicago. Are there any other places that you really enjoy wrestling in?
Download Festival in the UK was a lot of fun to do with NXT when we were still a black and gold brand then. The UK crowd over there just is a different entity of fans. It's just like a different, I don't know. They're just crazier. I don't know. It's a great atmosphere. Paris was a lot of fun just because I never got to wrestle in Paris. And then just anywhere in the States, California is always good. Yeah, just I don't know. Chicago's been good to me ever since I've wrestled there, and then even now in Iowa with Pro Wrestling Revolver, which is every now and then on FITE TV. But
Yeah.
Iowa got one of those crowds that PW Revolver draws in there, and they're just energetic.
Yeah, and you've done a few tag matches out there too with Weston Blake, correct?
Yes, us as POS, and we never know where we're going to pop up. So
I love it. Well, Steve, thank you so much for what you do, man. Like I said, you're very entertaining. It's great to see, what you're doing. It's great to see you more too. So yeah, like now I'm doing like this Impact Wrestling thing where I have the app now, and
good. Everybody should be doing that. That's the one thing. Get the app. If not, it's on YouTube. If not, it's on Access TV if you have it, or you can watch all the replays on FITE TV, especially all the pay-per-views we have. For sure.
Yeah, it's entertaining stuff. It's great. If you like pro wrestling, there's no reason why you shouldn't be watching it. And it's also a reason why you should also watch the Wrestling Showcase for their inaugural show.
September 3rd on FITE TV if you can't be there.
Right. Steve, it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it, sincerely. So I appreciate your time too, man. I know you have a very busy schedule. You have a lot going on in your life. Steve, once again, thank you so much for all that you do. And say hi to your lovely fiance for us as well, okay?
Thank you, Jeff. You have a good one.
You too, Steve. Thank you so much.